Okay, what's up everyone, it's Matt Rozick, and this will be the next work in progress on Rhino. And in case you didn't know, this is my reference I've been using to go by for this piece. I'm not sure who painted this up, but they did an amazing job. So I just kind of used this as a guide and reference for my paint up. And mine's a little punchier than this, but I think they both look really amazing. So again, I'm using this as a reference for the base. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to work on probably the bottom part, this kind of slate. And if I'm using this as a reference, it's kind of a sandstone color. So we're going to go with that. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to base coat this. Let's see, what do I got? What do I got for kind of a sandstone-y color? It's kind of an orangish, I don't want bright orange, that doesn't make sense. It's kind of a rust color actually, so maybe I mix a little orange and yellow, or orange and red. I think I'm just use these craft paints. And I've got a little crappy brush I was using earlier. Where'd they go? I kind of picked up, here it is, from doing the figure. This might be a good starting point right here. It's a little red. I got some brown to this. So I got red and orange in here. It's kind of a burnt orange right now, but I want to warm it up. I want to knock down the red a little bit, so I'm going to add a little brown to it. Maybe a little more. This will be a good shadow color, I think. Okay, let's start here. So this is kind of what I got mixed up right here. And the great thing about this is this base will be all hand painted. I tend to hand paint most of my bases. So this part doesn't have to be real neat. I can just go in here and kind of slap it on. Now this being these craft paints, I'll probably take 2 coats, or I can just do 1 coat and I'll maybe go in there with a dark wash. Again, I just play around until I get the looks I want, you know. So we're going to do this sandstone color. And these paints dry quite a bit darker than what you see in the bottle, so this is a little red, a little too red I think, but it's okay. Again, this is just to kind of get a color down. We'll work our way up to the kind of sandstone look. This will take a little while to dry because I put it on straight from the bottle. You can see I'm not being super neat about it. I'm just kind of want to get some even coverage on those areas that are going to be this color. There's Troy's signature in 2012 when he sculpted this piece. Sales calls. Again, more text about voting and phone calls about voting than I can care to count. It's really annoying. Okay. Not that you need to see this whole process, but it should just take about a minute. My camera battery's almost dead anyway. I gotta go charge them. So while this dries, I'll go charge my batteries for a little bit. Oop, I just got paint all over my camera. That's not good. Let's not paint the $3,000 camera. the slate, the top layer of this base is very thin than whatever, like the stone gravel area. It's very thin. Again, there's a lot of gray in this piece just because of Rhino and the stone stuff. So I like what this artist did on this. He broke it up a little bit by doing the sandstone down below. You know, it's a different texture, so kind of gave it this slate sandstone look. All right, so that's the first color. Again, it's really red. That's okay. I think it's a good base color to start with. So I'm gonna let this dry really well. This may take, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes because I put it on straight from the bottle. But you can still see some of the primer through there. It's okay, no big deal. Again, these craft paints that are like 99 cents a bottle, they're 99 cents for a reason. It's because they're very light in pigments. That doesn't make them bad paints. I was for the longest time reluctant to try them because they're so damn cheap. But once I started using them, I really like them. It's like any other tool. If you know how to use it, it's a great tool. And you can airbrush them, just water them down with just water. You got to put them on real light and build up the layers. The last Mary Jane I just finished up, I airbrushed on the red on this chest on her shirt for the Spidey logo. The first one I hand painted, and that took forever. It was much easier just to kind of do a quick silly putty mask, thin down some of this craft paint with some water, and just layer on 4 or 5 thin coats of the red, and it works just fine. Now you do have to seal it because it is craft paint. This isn't like automotive paint, so you'd have to seal it to really protect it. So we're gonna let that dry all the way, and then I'll seal it really well, and then we'll do the next step on that area. Alright, so that's dried and I sealed it, and I'm going to go in and start dry brushing some colors on. So I've got this, it's called caramel. We'll see what it looks like. And again, we'll just play around with some colors here. This looks a little light for what I want, but again, you have to realize these are really thin, and you have to know what it's going to do on top of the color you're putting it on. So even though it's pretty light and kind of yellowish in tone, it should work well with this kind of rusty red I got going on. And I'm just going to kind of lightly dry brush this on. And I'll probably do this twice again with these craft paints. Again, they're very light in pigment, but they work well. So this is where like knowledge of color theory comes into play, because even though this is yellow, when you add it to this rusty red, it turns into this kind of sand color, which is what I'm going for. I'm going to bring this up pretty bright, I think, and then I'm going to do a wash on it. Just got a scrap piece of paper towel over here, getting most of the paint off. So I'll probably get this finished tonight, which would be nice. I hadn't anticipated getting it done today. I may do is after I do this, I may add a little of that bright orange to this caramel color. Let's see what that looks like. Dry brush that on. So a base like this, I can usually get done in a couple hours, if I know what I want to do. So I got a little of this orange to this. I'm gonna brighten it up a little bit. Can go back right over it. See, I shifted the color a little bit, brightened it up. I think I'll just go back with this bright orange by itself. And it may look a little funky, but once I add the wash, I'll knock it down. Now the stuff that he's standing on, I may do that instead of gray like gravel. I may do that like a dirt color. I think I'll do that. I'll just add it rather than gray. There's so much gray going on with Rhino and these cinder blocks and stuff. I may do the top layer of a dirt. The reference I have shows him like kind of on a gray. But I don't want to do that. I think I'll do dirt. Okay. So there's that. I'm going with the orange by itself. If I get one more text about voting for someone, I'm going to shoot them. It's annoying. Alright, this is just the orange by itself. I think what I might do after this, I don't know, again, I just kind of play. As I go along, I think of what I want to do. I'm not putting a whole lot of this on. I may do this caramel color and add a little white to it. That's what I'm thinking. Just gonna go back to that. So I'm going to take this caramel color Add a little white to it. Where should I have where's that slate gray? Oh, here's a color right here. It's perfect. Latte. This is actually probably what I should use the first time. Alright, so I got some this caramel and this other color called latte. Kind of got this really light tan going on. I really dry brush this pretty heavily, even into the crevices a little bit. You'll still be able to see the colors through it. But this is kind of the color I was going for to begin with. So all the stuff we just did before just kind of be undertones. Building it up, building it up. Right here is looking really good. I get the rest to kind of look like that. Be good. And then we'll seal this. And then I'll do a dark wash on it, and then I'll bring up the highlights again with some more dry brushing. Alright, so it looks good. I'm going to seal this. And then I'm going to see if we do like a brown wash on it. And then we'll do some more dry brushing after that. Okay, so I sealed that. I've got this kind of brownish wash mixed up in here. And I've got just like an old baby washcloth from when the kids were babies. And I'm going to... This wash is a little thicker than a normal wash. It's just, I want to kind of get more pigment in there. So we're going to put this on. And hopefully it's getting the crevices and stuff. Again, you have to be real neat with this. So in case you're curious, from the time I seal this and I do this step, it's only been about 5 minutes. And if I want to go even faster, I'll do it with a hairdryer. When you're working with these water-based paints, the seal just has to be dry to the touch, because it's not gonna, these paints won't affect the seal. The layer flat, because it's not a solvent paint. It's a water paint, so it's not going to affect the seal that I just put on. a few minutes ago. Now if I try to do this over the other paints without sealing it, then it would totally lift them up and reactivate them. So that's why you have to seal between layers, so you don't reactivate or affect the previous layers. There are times when I don't seal, I want to work wet on wet. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of dab this a little bit. Let me go in there with a darker wash. Just lightly dabbing, getting up the excess. What I'm fighting is the initial base coat I put down was way too red, so I'm fighting that. I should have base coated it with that kind of tan color. I do have a darker wash mixed up over here. It's got some black in it. Put that on top. If you want it more effect, just let it dry a little bit longer before you start to dab it off. Okay. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna let this dry, and then we'll seal it again, and I'll start doing some more dry brushing. But this is gonna bring out the details in the crevices some more. And hopefully tone that red down some. If you take too much off, just put a little bit more back on. And dab again. Like that. Alright, so it looks pretty messy right now, but we're gonna let it dry and seal it, and then we'll come back and do some more dry brushing. Alright, so I think I've decided to do, instead of going back in there and doing some dry brushing and washes right now, I went ahead and sealed it. I'm gonna use some of this MIG pigment Vietnam Earth. What is this? Yeah, Vietnam Earth. So it's kind of got this kind of sandy stone look to it. And I think I can just kind of come in here and dab this on real lightly. This will kind of give me the look I want. So it comes on very lightly. Not making it, just really just hitting the tops of everything with this. Just kind of blend everything in together. And then while I'm here, I'm going to go with some other pigments and bring out the shadows a little bit more again. Okay, that looks pretty good. Got some. This is called, no, it's got green in it. I don't want green. What I got? I mean, graveyard dirt's kind of like my go-to color. So maybe I'll go with my graveyard dirt. A little too bright. So let's go with, maybe I'll mix up some custom again. I think this is going to be too dark. Let's see. Actually, nope, that's looking pretty good. So again, I'm going with my, this is Rocket Exhaust pigment. It's pretty punchy, but I like it. Using this pretty sparingly. Pigments make a huge mess on my desktop, my floor, they get everywhere. I use them very heavily. Most guys use them super light. I don't know, I'm pretty heavy-handed with the pigments. But I get a lot of amazing looks with them. I love using them. One of my favorite tools in my arsenal. It's really easy to just get great shadowing and shapes and stuff. Alright, I'm going to come in again with this graveyard dirt a little bit. Soften it up. And I think I'll follow it up with the Vietnam Earth again. And seal this, and I think I'll be where I want to be on this. And I may do a little bit of dry brushing at the very end. And selectively hit a couple areas with this Vietnam earth. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna go seal this, and then I'm gonna do some dry brushing. I think that part will be done, and we'll move to the top. All right, so I sealed that, hit it with the hair dryer, and I'm gonna do just a tiny bit of dry brushing with this kind of bright color I mixed up earlier. Just a little bit. Just using a flat part of the brush. And this will just help highlight some of the edges and bring out some of the cracks and the details and stuff. And again, with these craft paints being as thin as they are with pigments, these dry down pretty translucent when you just do one or two passes with them. So we'll be able to see all the stuff underneath. Yeah, that's looking good. So maybe a second pass on the really high spots. And then this is going to be done. This looks good. So it took it took me a little while to get where I wanted, but we got there. You can still see all the way back to that first base color, that red. It actually looks pretty good as an undertone. So I was fighting it at first. But this looks like sandstone. It's perfect. Alright, so we'll seal this and then we'll do the top. Looks really good. Super happy with that. Okay, for the top we're going to do this kind of dirt look. I'm going to base coat it with the color, this raw umber, this craft paint again. So raw umbers are brown. It's got a little bit of green in it. So we're going to do this. Again, we're just on the top, we're going to have to be real neat about it when I get down to the what do you call it, sandstone. I'll have to be more careful. I'm not going to worry about getting any of the paint up on the cinder blocks or the rubble around those, because those are going to get painted grayish tones. So right now I just want to kind of get some color on this dirt area. sure we get down on the keys and everything. You're not going to see them, but try to paint them. So we got this dirt, and then the cinder blocks have like mortar that's kind of crumbling in the middle of them. So that's going to go like a dirty gray color. So don't have to worry about painting those areas with this. I'll probably do 2 coats of it. Well, no, we'll see. We'll see what it looks like with 1 coat. Okay, now come on the sides here and be a little more careful. And then I will go back in with some pastels again and really hit the shadow between these 2 layers pretty hard to help give us some definition between the 2. Yeah, I'll probably do 2 coats of this. That's probably gonna go mortar color, I think. Not sure if what he's standing on is supposed to be cracked concrete, and maybe it's supposed to be cracked concrete, because there are some cracks in here. So I don't know. Maybe that's why it's supposed to. The other artist did it kind of grayish, so maybe I'm gonna send Troy a message. I think this is concrete the way I'm looking at this, not dirt. So that's why it's, it's got the cinder blocks and the cracks. So we're gonna go with cracked concrete. It's gonna be gray, but it's gonna be a different tone of gray. So start off with this raw umber, which will be fine. They'll give it a warm gray look to it. Okay, we'll let this dry. Even it out a little bit. And I think we'll do, so once this dries, I'll seal it. And I'll come back in with the GarageKits.us semi-transparent grays and sponge those on. And give you some more like texture and stuff in the surface. So at least with this base coat, we got the beginnings of a different shade of gray. We'll let this dry, we'll come back. Alright, so I sealed that. I hit it with a hair dryer. Now we're going to go in and we're going to start adding some more details to this. I can find the right color I want. No, that's not what I want. I need to organize my gray sets because I'm missing some color. There's cool gray. I don't want cool gray. That's what I want. Alright, this is semi-transparent warm gray number 7. I need to clean up all my palettes are disgustingly dirty. I need to clean them out. I spent some time doing that. Alright, so just gonna put some in here. Again, semi-transparent warm gray number 7. This is almost black. And at the same time, I'm actually gonna put this, I think I may put this on, well, I don't know, no, I'm just thinking out loud. Don't listen to me. Alright, so I'm gonna put this on. And I'm gonna dab it off as I go. And then from here I'll start dry brushing. Bringing up the highlights and stuff. There, we just kind of get into all those crevices. I thought about going and putting this on the cinder blocks, but I've got some other paints and stuff on there, over paint from the previous steps that I don't want underneath. So I'll just start those individually here in a little bit once I get this part done. Again, just gonna hit the edge a little bit. I start dry brushing, I have to be careful around the edge here so I don't get paint on the sandstone I've got going on. Have to be a little careful there in those areas. I have to find a way to set up my photo step permanently somewhere with as much painting I'm getting done. I just can't spend the time setting it up and breaking it down every time I finish a piece, especially if I'm doing one a week. That just takes up too much time to do that. It'd be really nice. I think I can do it for a little while. We have a room right now that's not being used for a whole lot. I can rearrange it a little bit. Okay, so this looks pretty good. We got this kind of dark thing going on with that. Okay, now I think we're gonna do is I'm going to come up a tone. Number 6. Number 6, where is it? 4. 3. Where is it? 7. Alright. Number 6. There it is. Okay. This is a warm grade number 6. And this I'm not going to paint on. I'm going to kind of stipple it on a little bit. Just using the same brush. It's kind of like dry brushing. You take most of it off and just do this. Just adds a little texture to this painted surface. Did not seal it before I did this. It's fine. I will seal it after this step, I think, unless I decide to go one more level with this, which I might do. Again, I don't ever have a plan, I just start painting. Hit the edge very carefully. Can't see it, I'm off camera. This isn't the best brush for cutting edge. It's not very precise, but it'll work for right now. Okay. I think I'm going to go up one more level. Number 5. So you can find it. 4. 4. Lots of 4s. Well, let's try 4. Where's the 5? It's a cool gray. It's fine. So this is a cool gray number 5. Got a little blue in it. Might actually be kind of nice. Again, we're going to take most of it off and kind of stipple it on a little bit. here, I'll seal this. I will seal it this time because I'm gonna come back and dry brush some slate gray on top of this. But like right in this area, this is kind of what we're going for. This look. Okay. It's looking pretty good. Hit the edges again a little bit. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I've got it tilted up on the side. Yeah, cool number 5 is a nice contrast. Okay, so I'm gonna go seal this, and then we're gonna come back and dry brush. Okay, so I switched to a bigger flat brush. I got some slate gray right here. Deco Art slate gray. And we're gonna start dry brushing this. Start bringing these up, the tones up. And now we're starting to see all the details and stuff, the cracks and everything starting to come out. These edges. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I'm not sure I'm going to bring this up much brighter. Because what I'll do is at the very end, I'll put Rhino back on here, and I'm going to do some pastel work around the feet and everything to kind of match some of the dirt and stuff that we did. The yellow stuff on his feet. So I'm happy with this. So while I'm here, I'm going to base coat these center blocks in this slate gray, I think. But I think I'm going to mix in a little bit of, just a little bit of this cool, well, let's do a warm, where is it? I just had it. Number 7 warm gray, just a few drops of that, just to bring it down a couple levels. Get a different brush. Let's see what I got. A flat brush right here, perfect. So you can mix in the Garage Kits US colors to these craft paints because they're all acrylics, they're water-based. Bring it down just a little bit more. Sorry about all the background noise. My son just came in with some friends. Okay. I won't film all this, but I'm going to come in and base coat these cinder blocks and the what do you call it, the mortar in this color, and then I'll come back. Alright, so I did that wash, I sealed it, and now we're going to go in with some pastels, and hopefully that'll be the last step. We'll see. So I got my go-to graveyard dirt here, and I'm going to come in, I'm going to bring out these mortar lines a little bit, just dirty them up. That, and then get my soft one and just kind of blend that out. It's okay if I get some on the outside. I'll help dirty these up a little bit so they're not so bright. They're a little bright right now. That. Once I get this done here in my hand, I'll put it on the base, and then I'll do the pastel work around the bottom part on the base so it blends in. Love my pastels. It's great effects with them. So you can see the difference between that side and that side. I'll do this one. I hit this pretty hard because it's broken off and be dirty up in there. I can do this part pretty quick. Okay. Up here. Okay, so I'm going to hit down here, kind of where it meets the base, and come up on the center blocks a little bit. Oops, that had a different color on it, which I don't want, it's too dark. Same thing over here. I'm going to try to avoid getting too much on that, kind of that mortar slash rubble stuff. I just want to put a little bit on there. And then we come up the brick and you see how it anchors it. Makes it look like it's part of that. Really easy effect to do. Just bring it up the side a little bit. Just like that. We're getting close. Close to the end here. Better kind of do a little bit around everything just to kind of anchor to the base, because right now everything looks a little floaty because there's a lot of contrast between everything. So we can tie it in a little bit. Just adding shadows and bringing those up the sides. Got a little heavy there. I'll come up this a little bit. It's super easy to do. Come in here and just punch in a shadow between two things, and it makes a huge difference as far as making them look anchored to whatever it is they're sitting on. I'm going to bring Rhino back in and put him on here in a second. And we're going to do the kind of the same thing to his feet, right at the base of his feet. That way when he's on there he looks anchored. He's not so different than the top. That's looking really good. And then we can come in here and selectively add some here and there just to break it up a little bit. Almost there. Not much to say. I'm just gonna keep doing this a little. I'm happy. So I could have probably gotten this if I did the portrait the other day. That took a good while. I could probably gotten this guy done in one day if I just put in like an 18-hour day. Got them all painted in one day. The prep work took a day. The putting them together and the seam work, so you know, 2 very full days you can get this piece done. Okay, so I'm just going to come in here and kind of hit some of these surfaces a little bit to tone down some of this white. And it's subtle, but I got just enough pigment on here to kind of do that a little bit. Too much. All right, I'll just bring it down a little bit. All right, that's looking really good. I'm happy with that. So let me get Rhino back out here. Okay, I'm going to take these kind of wall sections off in the back. I should have taken those off first. Okay, now I'm going to take these pigments and I'm going to go around his feet a little bit. And come up his, actually get some on the bottom of his feet, and I'll just seal his feet again. Try to take them off to get to the sides. I can do the heels, and the parts I can get to I'll do while he's on the base. Can't get to the sides, I have to take them off. So I'm going to take them off. I'm going to just kind of hit the edges of his feet. Not sure that's showing up. Really get the toes. Like that, and then we'll come in. I'll just kind of do some around the outline of his feet on the base. And I think, let's put him back on, see how he looks. If he looks good, we'll seal him, and then I think he might be done. That looks good. Okay, so I'm gonna seal them and then we'll come back and I'll check for any touch-ups and then he might be done. Okay, and with that, Rhino's done. He looks really good. So yeah, I'm happy with it. I don't know what else I would do to it. Everything looks really good. I think my client will love it. And this last work in progress is pretty long, but hopefully you guys, the few people that watch it, you get something out of it. And as always, thanks for watching. Or bring my exposure down just a little bit. That's more accurate. As always, thanks for watching. And I'm not sure if I'll do videos on the next few. I just gotta get painting again. But this is a cool project, so I want to do videos on it. But yeah, really happy with this. Love the portrait. Love the way the rhino skin turned out. All the different textures on the base look really good. Got a little speck of something right there. What is that? Sometimes these pigments get like a little speck of white in them for some reason. There's that extra brick there. You can kind of put that wherever you want. I don't know where you put it. Maybe in front. No, there's nowhere to put it in front. It's right here maybe. Just like that. Sandstone looks good. Concrete looks good. Cinder blocks look good. And he looks fabulous. So there you go. That's a 1/8 scale Rhino, sculpted by Troy McDevitt. Awesome piece. If I can find one, I'll grab it and do it for myself. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye.